It's me. Hi everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Anisha. Today's going to be a great day. We're going to chat about a few things: guilt, imposter syndrome. I just went to New York Fashion Week for the second time in a row, and I learned a lot about myself. And I also kind of just wanted to update you guys on life, sit and chat and hang. But before we get too far into it, we're going to see what the cards have to say for us today. I brought my very special, kind of savage cards today. So this is my shadow deck. I feel like I need a message from this guy. So today's message from the universe is about distorted perceptions. It says, reality is rarely what we are raised to believe it is. The guidebook explains this card really beautifully, but it's pretty long, so I put it in the description box of this episode if you want to go check it out. To sum it up for you, it basically is about challenging our belief systems to notice which ones we've blindly adopted from childhood or from communities around us, and which ones are actually our own. I think this is a really fitting card, especially given our current political climate in the world. Things are really scary and a lot of hateful beliefs are coming out, but I think if people started to really connect with their own core values, they would notice that a lot of those belief systems aren't even theirs, and they were like kind of taught to them and almost like tricked into believing them. This card reminds us to check in with our own belief systems and to really state our values from a place of knowing and from our soul and our core beliefs, not from what the world around us or the people around us are telling us to believe. What a powerful message. I mean, all about like making your own decisions and perspectives. And it's weird that I pulled this card specifically today because one of the things I really wanted to chat about was New York Fashion Week. And I went last year and I had a great time. I think New York City is a really cool place. It's filled with artists and like great people. It's a really lively and vibrant city. It's also a city that holds a lot of pain, like most cities, but especially like New York. It's got so much history. Like there's some dirty, grungy things about it. I've always really liked New York. It's a place that I like tend to kind of thrive and really come alive. And last year I really noticed that especially. And maybe it was because it was sparkly. It was my first time at New York Fashion Week. I got invited from a company that had seen one of my viral videos, and it was kind of a fluke that I was there. I was working with a manager who kind of got me in, and yeah, I was really excited to be there. So it was really sparkly. I loved the city, and I didn't really realize that fashion was like part of my thing. So I sort of just YOLO'd it and like had a great time, went pretty camp with my outfits and made such a splash. I found networking to be very easy and people really gravitated towards me last year. And it was just an all around like really fun and beneficial event for me as a creative. Like I just met so many great people. I got to experience so much cool stuff and just like got a lot of inspiration. It was really just a great trip. And so I was really looking forward to this year. And don't get me wrong, I had an amazing time. Like New York Fashion Week is so fun, but I do think sometimes people have the wrong idea because I'm not going to like the same parties as Kylie Jenner, okay? I'm going to like, lots of cool events, but in the same way that sometimes you go to a party that like just sucks and for no reason, like some parties just like suck. Imagine going to like a whole week of parties and some of them like they just kind of suck no matter how like fancy or cool they are. But again, this year I was pumped. I was pumped to be back and I found it to be really different. I found it to be a really different energy, and at first I just felt like out of place. I felt really almost unwanted everywhere. And I don't think that's like the actual case. It was more like I could sense the tension around me. Like people were less inviting. Like last year it was like the thing that I love about New York City is even though they're harsh and mean and like kind of crazy there, everybody's very open. Like in New York, they will just welcome you with open arms. Like it's very like everybody's invited to the party, or at least I've noticed in the creative community, it seems like it is. I was missing that this year, and it took me a second to realize that the election had just happened a few weeks ago. And so I'm in New York, which is a bit of more of a swing-ish state. No, like well, actually, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know that much about American politics, but I know that New York wasn't like super, super blue, like, or anything like that. Or maybe it was. You know what? I should just shut up. My point is, it was tense, okay? And it seemed like it was because of the election. It seemed like it was because people didn't know which way you voted. And it was like, as soon as I made a little joke about being Canadian, and I kept making like a little tariff joke to kind of show what side I'm on. I believe in human rights. I always believe in freedom and freedom for everybody to express who they are. And I also believe in like, safety and all that stuff. So I wanted to make sure that people knew what side of the, political line I was on. But it was like nervous and awkward. So I did notice as soon as I stated that, like people chilled out a little bit and it was easier to get to know them. But I noticed the imposter syndrome creep up a lot more this trip. Like, am I supposed to be here? Because it seems like I'm not wanted here. And I had to really check myself and kind of give credit to what the city and what the country is going through, because I am Canadian. And yeah, there's problems up here. Don't get me wrong. There's problems everywhere. But we're not going through what America's going through right now. Like America right now is like, it's a really dangerous place, and it's really scary. And there's a lot of fear in people, and they just don't know what's going to happen. And people's rights are being questioned, and just what a scary thing. Everything about it is so scary. And so I understand people's tension. But I thought it was interesting how I like immediately turned it on to myself and made it kind of like a lack in my own abilities to network and my own. I'm like, oh my God, my fashion is less cool. My outfits aren't as good. I'm not as talkative. I don't know. There was something about it. Like I was like, there's something wrong with me. And we do that a lot as humans. We blame ourselves for like other people's pain, because realistically that tension that I was feeling through New York Fashion Week, the wall that was between me and every other person there, that had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me, my abilities, my kindness, who I am as a person. It had nothing to do. It just was what it was. And I had to kind of like figure that out and accept it along the way. So that was kind of a big realization this trip. And I think it didn't help because I had a really hard time prepping this year. Like, okay, I'm a mess, you guys. I'm just like kind of a messy person. Like I'm always a little bit all over the place. I have ADHD. I also believe I have autism. So I really go like back and forth between like extreme organization and then like absolute chaos. And it's hard for me sometimes to find a balance. Long story short, packing for New York Fashion Week was a nightmare. You guys, I spent months making this like beautiful bag out of CDs. It didn't fit in my suitcase. I had all these outfits planned, and then all of a sudden I just started getting like, I don't know, things were just going kooky and things were going wrong. Outfits were getting mixed up, and like, I don't really plan. I don't plan things to a T. And it's funny. My friend Alexis came with me. She came for the last couple of days. She's an icon. I don't know why. Like, she deserves everything. She is the influencer. She is my inspiration for life. Literally everything I do, I just strive to be Alexis. So she came with me, and she's got this whole like grid of her outfits picked out. Her accessories are in every single bag. She's detailed. Like that's like her thing. That's how she does it. And it's not like I'm less than because I approach fashion or the way I feel like I need to do it kind of in the moment. That's just sort of how I am. But I did feel like, oh my God, Anisha, like you're such a fucking mess. Like, look at this girl come in. Alexis has all her shit together. It looks amazing. She knows exactly what she's going to wear. But she's just different. She's different from me. That's not who I am. I have to like, once again, pause and step back. Okay, I'm just different. I don't have to automatically go to this idea of like something is wrong with me because I'm approaching something different than somebody. And because we have societal norms, our societal norms are heavily based in the like worker mentality. Detailed, diligent, on time, orderly, all that stuff. Those are not my strong qualities. It is what it is. I do my best to be a great person to people, but I'm not all the time. I'm always pretty bad at answering messages and getting back to people. It's something I have always really struggled with. I forget what I'm doing. And because I have such like deep commitment and love for people, sometimes I don't show it because I feel it. I'm like, oh, you're going to be in my life forever. Like we're best friends forever and ever. And I love you so much. And sometimes I forget to like put in the effort to establish like quality time, like a day-to-day, more like present basis, because I have such a longevity like approach to things. What the F was I talking about? I mean, it's really just coming back to like imposter syndrome, like just judging the way that I am and the way that I show up in places and with people as if it's some sort of like deficit. And it doesn't have to be a deficit just because it's not what you were told. I think there's certain things, there's ways we can be better. I don't like to make people wait, for example. You might think it's quirky. Oh, I'm always running late, blah. That's actually not like a really nice quality because you're making people like wait for you. And so that's something that I like to work on. You know, that's something I wanted to be better at that. I really try to be better at time management. However, with my ADHD, sometimes it's just really, really bad. So instead, I've established with my friends that they know usually sometimes if I tell them I'll be there at 6:15, it actually might mean that I'm there at 6:30, 6:45. Sometimes it just means that. And my friends accept that about me and they know it and they love it. As much as I can try to improve certain qualities that I don't like, I don't have to like just be so disappointed in who I am as a person and how I show up, because I actually just can't really change it. And I want to change it sometimes, but I can't. That back and forth is something that I've really it's really been sinking in this week with New York, assuming that everyone around me not necessarily having the most open energy was somehow a deficit of mine, you know, realizing, wait a second, this has nothing to do with me. It's the same thing, you know, sometimes if I'm like, I don't know, late, or if I don't answer my friends for a little while, I might have friends be like, oh my God, like she doesn't give a crap about me. Like, what a bad friend, like yada, yada, yada. She doesn't care, this and this. And that's like, you're allowed to feel that way. But is this person maybe just going through something totally external and it actually has nothing to do with you? And it doesn't really actually like change your relationship. You know what I mean? Like sometimes things like are just completely separate and we don't have to take them so personally. Really hard thing to do. We take things very personally. It is what it is. I take things personally, you guys. Listen, I have been very sensitive lately. I've been holding on to a lot of guilt. I'm trying to let things go. And like, I've told you guys a lot about like my dating journey recently. And I got dumped by someone I wasn't even dating. I didn't even know that you could do that. It was very confusing. And it was by somebody that truthfully like would be the last person that I would ever want to break my heart. Like somebody like very close to me. And I met this great guy in NYC. Obsessed with him. And you know what else? He's obsessed with me. Freaking love that. Love that because I can't find it here in my hometown. It seems that the people that I like are afraid of me. So it hasn't been working out that well. But especially with this most recent one, because we weren't dating and I thought we had established like a really clear, like this was like we were going to be friends and like it was all good and we were able to communicate, because it took such a 180. It did, you know, it hurt me. It hurt my heart. And I found it difficult to like be mature about it and be like, oh, they're just kind of going through a thing. I did kind of immediately be like, wow, great. Me again. What's wrong with me? Doesn't want me. Oh, lovely. Something deficient with the old Anisha. Okay, great. Was I too crazy? Did I come on too strong? Did I do this? Did I blah, 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 blah. Start going through the list. All the things that I could have done differently, that I used to scare him off, like whatever. Total BS. I'm sitting here questioning myself because somebody is going through a completely external thing that literally has nothing to do with me. And you know what? If it does have something to do with me, it's their responsibility to tell me that it has something to do with me. I'm not going to just assume that it does anymore, because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And it's really, really, really painful. And I'm deciding to just let it go because I just want to give less shits, even on this podcast. You know, I posted this video. I took it down on Spotify, but it's still up on YouTube. It's called Me, and it's me like just introducing myself. And I literally apologize for existing like 10 times. I'm just like, warning, I'm bad at this. Hey everyone, just so you know, I suck. And it's me like trying to control the outcome of a situation to warn you that I might like disappoint you. But why do I have to warn you? People disappoint us all the time. When did we stop leaving space for that? When did we just decide that all of a sudden humans have to be perfect? Because people disappoint me all the time, but that doesn't change my perspective of them necessarily. I mean, yeah, if it's a reoccurring thing or if somebody's like showing you true colors, you have to like understand. But I just think that, I don't know, we're all just like silly humans and we put so much pressure on ourselves to like evolve and be the best person. And this is where, for me, like that core of imposter syndrome really comes from, because I have amazing credentials. I've got an amazing career, amazing resume. Like I have done really cool stuff, but because I haven't gone to university, dude, I literally am like, hi, I have no right to be here. Don't worry about me. Like I'm just here for the vibes. Personality hire. It's silly how you put yourself down and you feel like you can't show up in a space, or you don't deserve to be in a space simply because you just took a different route to get there. Like, even sometimes you could do things the exact quote unquote normal way and still not feel like you're good enough. Like this situation with this guy, you know, there was nothing wrong to me with our relationship. Like, I felt like I communicated really, really well. I communicated my feelings without, you know, putting any onus on them. And we didn't really talk that much, like lots of space. Like, there was no pressure. And immediately I'm like judging myself, thinking that I should have done something differently. But then when I actually stopped and looked at that situation, I was really proud of how I handled it, because I really liked this person and I could have gone crazy, but I kept the crazy in check, and I, you know, took care of my own emotions and just focused on like prioritizing what I wanted to prioritize and knowing what I deserve, and not taking this person's, like whatever this person's doing, and not like making it a me thing. It's not a me thing. Not everything is about you, honey. And that's not to say that we shouldn't be self-aware. I'm like one of the most self-aware people on the planet, but it's sometimes too much. Sometimes we go too far. We hold ourselves way too accountable, and we are constantly just like nitpicking every little thing about who we are. And this week in New York, I just felt like I needed to let it go, because since I had such an amazing time last year, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on this year. And like, I was like prepped, you know, like I got like some great deals on my hotels and flights. Like, I booked my hotel like weeks and weeks in advance. And then I waited and booked my flight, did that like 6-week little thing to get like a nice little budget deal. And, you know, I prepped and I put all my money aside, and I was planning my outfits for months. So like, I did plan. But in the last 3 days, it all went to shit. It went super chaotic. I changed my mind on a million outfits, and I switched it all up, because I don't know, that's who I am. So next time, am I going to waste all this time like planning and detailing? Like, maybe a little bit, but maybe I need to like try to work with my own desires more. Maybe I do just need to allow myself to be a little bit more free and chaotic, and let the feelings come when they come, because that just seems to be how I work. So why am I trying to fit in another mold? I'm proud of myself for trying, you know? You don't have to be perfect to do something. You don't have to be Ariana Grande to sing. You can sing whenever you want. You could release an album tomorrow, even if you're a bad singer. Who cares? You have free will. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. And it might be really fulfilling for you. And also, what is bad? You know, bad is subjective. Instead of following the rule book, instead of waiting until you're at the perfect moment to do the perfect thing, just like accept who you are, where you are at right now, and live your best life, because you will start to attract the right things around you. And look who came to join. Wanted to say goodbye. Come here, Jen. This is Sweet Angel Ginny, everyone. And in a couple days, this little munchkin turns 9, if you can believe it. She's 9 years old. I got her when I was 20. Oh my gosh. You are a little angel. And she is so sweet. And I think we should all be like dogs a little bit more. Just living for foods, naps, and the people that love them. Well, you guys, thank you so much for opening your mind up with me today. Don't forget to be kind to yourself and to others, okay? Love you. Bye.